Instagram. Start this video. Things are acting right. Okay. There. Looking at the right things. Okay. Hi guys. Sorry, I've never used Google, like working with it. Video on Instagram. So we're gonna do a Q&A. I'm trying to see. Can you still chat with me normally? I don't know. I'm trying to be able to see your chats, okay? So let me see. It shows me that I have some people in here. I just don't know how to see your chats. Maybe I can't see your chats on here. Okay, guys, maybe I'm struggling. Okay, I'm over here struggling for real. Okay, see, Instagram's working pretty fine. Can you guys chat with me? I want to see if y'all can chat. Okay, maybe not. I don't know. We're gonna see. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what to do. Okay, so before I get started, I want to make sure that I can see your chats because this is supposed to be a Q&A, and I know some of you hear me, and I just want to be sure that I can answer your questions. So I am on YouTube and I'm on Instagram right now, live, just trying to see your questions and if y'all have any for me. But I also want to tell you guys, if you can chat with me right here on my YouTube channel, perfect. I say hello. Thank you so much for joining. Guys, also before we get started, drop down your goals for 2018. Drop down one of your goals so I know exactly what your goals are. Let's see why on my YouTube channel I'm not seeing you guys. Like, I'm not seeing any of your chats. I wonder why. Hi guys, I'm trying to see on my YouTube channel. I'm not seeing their chats. And that's literally who it's literally for. Well, I guess I don't know what I'm doing wrong. So guys, actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to do Instagram and then I'll have to come back and do YouTube because I don't know why my YouTube chats aren't showing. So give me, it just sucks. I'm so sorry, y'all. But you can sit here real quick and I'm going to go ahead and talk to you guys real quick and get some chats going. So the first thing I want to tell you guys is obviously I'm Morgan, and I did this live because I really just wanted to answer a lot of you guys' questions through my website and Instagram and Snapchat, and I can't answer every one of them, but I said I want to try to, you know what I mean? So what I want to tell you guys is obviously 2018 is right around the corner, literally right around the corner. Okay, I'm so sorry. I don't know all the lingo details about everything on here, but okay, I asked a while ago, what is your goals for one goal for 2018? And somebody said the only goal is to hear the voice of God and be seriously attentive. Okay, so today's really the whole purpose is for me to answer some questions, but if you don't have any, that's okay, because I got some for y'all. Okay, I come with questions too. All right, and obviously the first one was like, what is your goal for 2018? So I want to ask you guys, have you ever noticed in your life where your years have kind of ran together? I know for me, 2012, 2013, and 2012 and 2013 ran together. I, was in and out of relationships. I was dealing with different people and all kinds of stuff. But even though I was in a new relationship, I was still facing the same issues. 2012 and 2013 kind of ran together for me because I was not utilizing my years. I was not even trying to walk with God. I knew God, but I knew him as this distant big God in the sky that only preachers were close to or something like that, And so what I want to say is I want us to stop allowing our years to run together. I really started to walk more with God. That's when my years quit running together. That's when I was like, I do understand also that it's easy for us to get stuck in an everyday schedule and everyday responsibilities. I was a college student, and I mean, every day my time was into my classes or into studying. I was a bio major, and so that's all I ever did. But even through that process, I always had a hunger for my ministry. Even when I was studying or in class, I would be writing out sermons. And when I started to get into my purpose, that's when I started to realize, hey, actually, my years don't have to run together anymore. I don't have to keep facing the same obstacles and the same mountains. I actually can get the wisdom of God and the discernment of God, the knowledge of God, and I can move forward on a different level. You know, 13 really taught me that my years ran together too much. You know, when you try to go back and you're in the wrong gear when you're trying to talk about something, and you're like, hold on, in 2012, I had them in 2013 too, and I still didn't learn the lesson. That is when that's when you catch your red flags. And if you've been watching my YouTube channel, I've been talking a lot about take inventory. Literally, if you choose to take inventory, then you're actually looking at your years and you're actually not going to allow them to run together. I remember as I was going through prayer journals, I started to realize that 2012 and 2013, you was battling the same things, girl. You wouldn't learn the lesson. And what I want to tell you is when you start to actually take that inventory, look at your situations, you actually start to see the areas of gifts. For me, if you've watched my 2017 recap video that came up today, I talk about how I ran to my cop-outs. We all have cop-outs, and for me, my cop-outs were men, was sex, was validation, was relationships, was drinking, was partying, was all these things. And in the beginning of this year, God started to really challenge me on some stuff. And guess what? I wanted to run to my cop-out. I wanted to run and jump into relationships. And guess what? I tried to do that. I really tried to do that. And knowing God was calling me to be single. And I'm like, no. I try to run to a cop-out, you know what I mean? And I want to tell you that don't do that. Don't do that. You have to sit and you got to learn from those lessons. You acknowledge what your cop-outs are. Sometimes for some of us, it's relationships. Sometimes it's excuses. Sometimes even our cop out can be food, okay? Honestly, when we're lonely, we may eat more, okay? So find out what your cop outs are, because when you acknowledge that, that's how you overcome them. That's how you realize, like, if you're pouring up a drink, like, this is my cop out, you know, out drinking on weekends, drinking on weekdays used to be my cop out. Like, y'all, I'm not even lying. Literally, it was my cop out for so long. And even relationships, you know, talking to a guy on the phone, you know, trying to go on dates, those were my cop outs, because guess what? I didn't want to be alone. I needed to be stimulated. I needed to be doing things, you know, and then, oh, don't let my friends be busy one weekend, because then I got to really be alone. So guess what? I start texting that guy again. We start talking, knowing I don't want him, knowing that's not the man of God for me. But that was my cop out. I want to tell you that when you acknowledge your cop out, you actually get some power over the enemy, because the enemy knows your weakness. And it might be that tall, light skin, good hair, or it could be that tall, dark, chocolate, handsome, okay? Or it can be literally anything out there. Just a guy that tells you you're beautiful, just a guy that treats you good, just a guy that's a real gentleman, okay? God, the enemy knows your cop outs. So if he can parade something like that in front of you, then guess what happens? He actually can get you to settle for something that was not even in the will of God, but also something that's way below the standard that God has for you. To me, the biggest thing with going into 2018 is stop settling. Stop settling. Stop just saying it's okay where it's at. If you have a passion, if you have a desire, stop settling and go for that. And if you truly don't want your years to run together, like my 2012 and 2013 did, if you don't want those years to run together, what you have to do is take that inventory. You got to look at what you can implement now. And also, you have to acknowledge those cop-outs, because those will hold you back, okay? And you'll be wondering why you're coming around the same mountain. When you acknowledge those cop-outs, you get a backbone and to say, no, I'm not running to that refrigerator. I'm not running to, oh boy, oh no, I'm not about to hit up that thing. I'm not about to go to the liquor store. Like, you acknowledge your cop-outs. Okay, you acknowledge them and you get better, because you don't run to them anymore. You know what I mean? You get better. And that's the overall purpose, is to get better, you know, to never give up. And did I always win at every time I decided to cop out? No. There were times where I would fall and I would be texting some dude, and then the next day I would be like, why was you even giving that, you know, why would you even give that attention? You know, so there are times where I did fail. There were times where I did not do perfect in anything. But what I will tell you, something that's so big that you have to do is when you realize you fail, you got to just get back up, boo. Even if it sucks to go back into your secret place and into your prayer time with God, you just got to go back in there and you got to be honest. Like, Lord, I failed. I failed so bad. You know what I mean? And when you get to that level and say, like, I failed so bad, it allows you to come back in. That allows you to experience that grace, back up, and keep going. Only the true Christians and the true people of faith and the true powerful people on this earth are the people who just never gave up. Failed. They just kept coming back. And I think that's the true purpose of me, true meaning of me. I failed so many times and I kept failing and I just kept coming back. And through those failures, through those years running together, I started to learn who I was. I started to see my red flags. I started to see the things that God was pulling on my heart to change. And in that process, I was able, Lord, I'll obey. Because his love is so kind that it doesn't even force you. It's just such a love that you just can't help but want to stick around that person almost. Like the love of God, when he blesses you and you was just like tripping and you was having all kinds of crazy thoughts and you was being tossed to and fro. When he blesses you like that, like you can't help but want to be around that God. You can't help but want to worship that God. You can't help but want to serve that God even through the rough, tough seasons, okay? If you're on my YouTube channel right now, I want to tell you, I may not be able to see your chats. I don't know why, but it ain't showing me no chats, okay? But if you're on Instagram, I am able to see your chats, and so I will answer a few questions if you have some. I'm open to answer any of your questions, boo. And Latoya said that her and her friends, oh, hold on, no, that's not the right one. I missed it. Oh yeah, Latoya said that her and her friends have been doing inventory. Okay, Latoya says, how are you okay with being alone? She has no friends. Honestly, I feel the same way. I don't have friends like that. My friends are back at college and we all graduated and we separated. And so friends, but I have family. I have a sister who's really close to, but also too, I embrace my season. I know it's not my season to be out getting dinner every weekend with my girlfriends. I just know that because I know what God has put in my heart. And in my season right now, I'm meant to work. I'm meant to get polished. I'm meant to get transformed. See, maybe God has took you away from friends so you no longer seek their validation for the things that God is telling you to do. A lot of our friendships with women, we always seek our girlfriend's validation. Oh, should I wear this? Should I do this? Even though God has already gave you the vision, but you want to make sure it's okay with them first. I want to tell you, sometimes in the seasons without friends, it's actually God saying, I want you to come to me. And when I give it to you, I want you to run. I don't want you to seek validation from this one and that one, but when I give you that vision, when I give you that hunger, when I give you that fire, when I give you that guidance, without friends, without saying, should I do this? Without leaning on anyone else but the Father. That may be why you are alone and without friends. Do you have some Christian friendships with strong links? What do you mean by links? Like strong connections, if that means? I have one friend who is amazing. He's a guy. He's a Christian guy, and we met in college, and we still talk to this day, and he's amazing. And a lot of women ask, can you be friends with men and things like that? Me and him were friends for years. He ended up in the process of us being friends for years. And his girlfriend fell in love. Amazing. I love his girlfriend. And me and him are still very close. Like I just called him the other day, like talked to him like an hour. You know what I mean? Like me and him are so close. I don't know. It just, for everybody, it may be very different, but for me, it worked out that way. You know, I don't know why, but it did. But yeah, so I'm sorry to everyone on my YouTube channel. I can't see your chats. I really wish I could, but I really can't. And so the live Q&A will not be with you, I guess. It's just me talking, but I can't see nothing. But with that being said, I'm still on Instagram, and I haven't been on Instagram live in a long time. So thank you guys for being on here with me. But honestly, I will say, one of the biggest things for me going into 2018 is to not allow my years to run together. I don't want 2017 to be a replica, or 2018 to be a replication of 2017. No. God is always taking us to new levels. And what it kind of looks like is you go through a valley, and then you go through a peak, and then you go through a valley, and then you go through a peak. But in those like valleys, season. It's actually your learning season, your preparation seasons. So I want to tell you that don't ever think like, I used to always view my valley as like the darkness, like I can't wait to get out of here and all that. But actually I learned in the valley. I learned like the woman that I am. I learned who I'm supposed to be. I learned the presence of God. I learned his love. I learned his heart. Like, so I want to tell you, don't look at your valley as a valley, but look at it as in your learning season. Because when you come onto that hill and when you get onto that mountaintop peak, master what you learned in the valley. The things I talk to you about right now is what I've mastered in the valley, okay? And now I'm at the peak and I get to talk to you about it. But in the valley, I couldn't talk about this. This hurt. It hurt for me to acknowledge that I had been going around the same mountain for a couple of years. It hurt me to acknowledge that I was in new relationships, but facing the same issues from past relationships. It hurt my heart to acknowledge that I needed to let go of some things so my future could be better. It hurt in the moment to acknowledge these things, but now I'm on the mountain. You know, I can tell you what's going on. But back in the valley, I had to face it. I had to sit in it. I had to cry those tears. I had to say those prayers. I had to quit talking to friends, and I had to get with God so I could get his validation. I could understand what he needed me to do and to understand. So yeah, I want to tell you, I was just really writing down notes literally like a few moments ago. I want you to understand that we don't want our 2018 to run together like any other year. We want this to be a year of growth and mature into whatever God is calling us to mature into. We don't, sorry, my dog will bark. He's a guard dog, okay? But we don't want to get ourselves into any of that. What we want to do is we want to be able to grow and blossom into the woman that God is calling us to be. And don't be like me, you know, don't be like me and come around the same mountain for a couple of years. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. Yeah, and so guess what? Also, too, there are 52 weeks in a year, okay? So if there are 52 weeks in a year, each week you need to be doing something powerful and amazing. And it can literally be waking up early. It can literally be getting into morning devotion, morning prayer journaling. For these 52 weeks, if you can just start implementing something that's going to benefit you and get you closer to the better version of you, whoever that is, each of us have our better version, okay? So whatever the better version of you is, if you begin for these next 52 weeks, even just the next 4 weeks, start looking and implementing things. Trust me, your 2018 will be far better than your 20. All we want is growth, and growth in the way that God wants to. You know, we don't want to get caught up doing things on our own when God had a whole nother route for us. You know what I mean? So first off, you got to tap into that author and ask him what chapter you're on. What chapter am I on right now? And tell me what I got to do to make sure I get to the next chapter in your alignment. That's what we need to be asking. And once we get into the presence of God, once we start to walk, I want to tell you, I got a question today on my website. A young woman was asking that she needed guidance and she needed clarity. And I want to tell you, a lot of things that I ventured out on, I really did not have guidance, clarity, okay? But I had trust that if I fell down, God was going to catch me. That's when your faith is put into play. There are going to be some times when you got to step out on something and you're not going to have guidance. You're not going to have a lot of fear, but you have to trust that, hey, if I fall, if this is the wrong decision, God is going to he's going to catch me, but he's going to bring good out of it. I'm going to learn something, I'm going to gain something, and I'm going to move further better. I remember when I launched my ministry, I was so scared, barely had anything, didn't know what I was doing, you know, all that stuff. I didn't even know if that was the right name. I'm just so scared, you know. I realized it wasn't so much about the name, and it wasn't so much about all the little pieces in between. What it was about was, did I have enough faith to say, God, regardless of my circumstances, regardless of my natural sight, and while I follow you, and while I just say, if I fail, you'll catch me. If I take the wrong turn, you'll steer me back straight. And that's the love you should have for God. And that's how we have to have it going into 2018. Don't be afraid to make some new ventures. Don't be afraid to try some new things. You know, don't be afraid of that, but actually go forward in it and just be like, God, I'm ready. I'm ready for you, Lord. Whatever you got, you know. And I will tell you, I am a little scared in my bed, and I was a little bit scared when I thought, oh my gosh, 2017, I cried a lot. I failed a lot. I hurt a lot. I went through a lot of fear. Oh my gosh, what if 2018 is going to be a whole nother round of that? And I kind of got scared for a moment, but then I remembered, and you came out better. And that's only through the grace of God. With you in 2017, oh sweetie, you gonna get double grace in 2018. You know what I mean? Like, that grace is with you. So when you fall short, that's where that grace will lift you up. It'll hold you when you have no money, when you're struggling, when you have a vision and you don't know how it's going to come into fruition. That grace will hold you. Trust me, it will. Right? So I've been doing a lot of talking. I'm supposed to be doing a Q&A on here. Yeah, what y'all want? What y'all want? I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm trying to see. Sorry. I'm trying to tell these people I cannot see their chats. But yeah, I just really thought, I would just come on here with the Q&A and on my YouTube channel. But I really can't see anybody's chats. It's telling me that I know some of you are chatting. I'm not seeing it. Okay. Oh, maybe I did something wrong. Okay. Maybe I didn't do something wrong. I don't know. All right, guys. Well, I did a lot of talking, and that was only like a few minutes. And you know me, I can talk for years. I guess okay, before I get into that question, I want to tell you, how do you tell someone to do something when they don't even know what to do? I always want to tell you guys to try something when some of you really don't know what to try. Sometimes you feel like you don't have enough clarity, you don't have enough guidance. I want to tell you that it's okay if you don't really know what you're doing. Sometimes I get up in the morning and I know I'm going to record, but I don't know what I'm going to record. And then it just kind of comes throughout, like, I'm going to do a live and I'm going to give a word. I didn't know what I was going to tell you guys until about the years coming together. I didn't know that until I started writing. So sometimes it's okay that you go in there and you're walking and you don't really know what you're doing, but you just have a trust that God will fulfill it, and He'll show Himself up. He'll give you a light at the end of the tunnel. He'll give you a friend. He'll give you a resource. He'll give you a door. When you believe in that and trust in that, then doors will open up. I talk about that in my Choose Her ebook. About kind of how doors will open up through connections and through little random things you can never even imagine. So for anybody that's struggling right now, who maybe are in a financial crisis, people who just really don't know what they're doing with their life, if you feel like you're kind of stuck, if you're anyone like that in that situation, I want to tell you, many people in our lives, including myself, have felt stuck, have felt like, God, where are you leading us? Have felt like, when am I going to get out of this valley? And I want to tell you, you cannot go no lower. You're only going to go up from here. And I remember when I was in a really tough season of like dealing with failure and depression, I had to keep reminding me, like, girl, you ain't getting no lower. God gonna bring you out of this, And I think that's the biggest thing, is God is gonna bring you out of it. But you do have to like check yourself. You got to do that inventory on yourself. You got to learn how to overcome these things. So when you get you can get the backbone, and you can say, oh no. Greater is He that is in me than he that is in this world. Oh, no, I can withstand this fire. I can withstand this fight. Oh, no, I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. I can learn to be content in any season. Amen, as Paul said. I can learn to be content in any season. So, Lord, I don't care if you don't bring that blessing today. I don't care if you don't bring that financial blessing today. I'm going to make it. And I think that is the biggest thing. I don't know how many times I had to say that. And I have a video on my YouTube channel where I don't know what video it's called, but I know I made everyone comment, I trust you, Lord. I'm like, comment that, because that's what you have to say when you get in those tough seasons. I trust you, Lord. Like, literally, like, I trust you, Lord. And you might have to say it like 20 times, because it might take you a while to trust them, to be honest. But it'll come. Trust me. You're gonna get it. You're gonna get out of that season of feeling stuck. And first off, God is not a God to leave you stuck. Oh yeah, God is not a God to leave you stuck. And I just created a blog post the other day. You've come too far to stop believing in God now. God has brought you, your family, your situation, your financial situation too far to say, I'm going to turn my back on you now. Okay. And that's what I want to tell everybody. Far. Okay. From everything y'all know I've been through, to stop trusting in God, to stop believing He says He is the protector, the healer, and the provider. I didn't know God like that. I didn't know God like that. But through my life, he started to be protecting me. If you watch my YouTube channel, then you probably know. But also, too, then he provided for me in areas of my life that I didn't even know how he was going to pull through. He he just healed me from really bad relationships. He healed me from really bad sayings, really bad people's words. He healed me. So I got to know God, as the Bible said, and I still have a long ways to go, but I know it's through, repetition and continuous to serve him and just being honest with myself. Like, girl, you don't got it all together. You're not perfect. Okay. Gotta be better. Do something different. Be easy on yourself. Have some compassion for that person. Don't be judgmental. It's just like checking yourself and making yourself be a better person. So let's see. I've got a few questions. Let me look at these real quick, y'all. Alrighty, let's see. How do you stay strong walking by faith and not by sight? Let me see who asked that. Hold on. Someone asked, Jadea, if I say that correct, how do you stay strong walking by faith and not by sight? I think it's situational, because sometimes some situations it's easier to have faith if it's like, oh God, I need clarity on this decision I need to make. Sometimes it's a little easier. But sometimes if you're like stuck, no money, your rent is due, and sometimes that is a lot harder to have faith in that situation. But what I will tell you is, how do you do it? Is you take it literally second at a time. If you're in a place where you feel like you're crammed in, you have to kind of get your mind off of the situation. And if we're not careful, we can allow that whole situation to fog us. And so it's kind of just getting your mind back into the promises of God. And with that promise, with that faith, and also too knowing the word of God. Oh yeah, you got to know it, So if you know the word, then you can put the word behind it. I remember I was driving my car one time going to my sister's house, and I started to look at my financial situation. How am I going to pay this? How am I going to, all these thoughts came to my mind. And as I was driving, I started to repeat Bible verses. I was like, no, God, if you called me to do ministry, you made provision for me. You've already went ahead of me. You've already got financial resources coming in that I can't see, but I know, God, you called me to this, and I know you're going to fulfill it. I started speaking words. I literally started getting so strong. Oh, no. Jeremiah 29:11. I started going in and started to speak words until I got empowered. And that's what you have to do. Faith comes by hearing the word of God. And so you got to start speaking that word until you get empowered. Why do you think I'm so empowering? It's because sometimes I get so depressed. I get so down. I get so shaky sometimes where I'm like, I gotta speak that word. And you got to speak that word of God. That's how you keep your faith. How do you handle people questioning you and God? I have family that asked me so bad that people believe in Jesus go to heaven, but great people that are Muslim and Buddhist don't. P.S. You're so sweet, Spy. Oh, thank you so much. How do you handle people questioning you and God? Oh my gosh, I get this a lot. Some people, especially if you're some people think you're crazy to worship Jesus and all these things. I want to tell you how you handle that is you just say, okay. You kind of let them get their spiel on, and you kind of let them, question you. And you can just, if you know Bible verses, and you can use Bible verses, but also too, you have to understand, if they don't know Christ, those things are going to sound like a weird lingo to them. They're going to be like, hold on, this don't make no sense. And they're going to just keep coming back with you about your faith. I got firm in my faith, and I became friends with Muslims. And, when I finally got firm in my faith is when I knew no matter what anybody said, I knew God for myself. And so guess what? When I started to hear naysayers, well, how do you believe in God if he does this, and he talks about women shouldn't speak and women should be quiet and things of that nature? These things, it would shock me at first, but now I'm like, oh no, God called me to this. I mean, I can talk about fashion, I can talk about shoes, but oh no, he called me to preach his word. He called me to speak his word in this world. But I know I'm called to speak that word, And so when you start to know God on a more intimate level, no matter what they say to you, no matter how much they come at you, it won't faze you. You're gonna be like, yeah, maybe I am crazy, but my life changed. And that's the thing is, when people question me, I'm like, yeah, but my life changed. I know God on a more intimate level. I know God on the level that sometimes when I think about things that he's revealed to me, it makes me cry, So, or the things he's brought me out of. Oh my gosh, yeah. I'm like, And two, people that question me are usually the people that don't know me. Because if you ask my family, ask like people close to me, they know the girl I used to be. Like they know the girl who was always into sex and always into different relationships and was always into drinking and partying and all, they know that girl. Like they knew that girl. So yeah. So just continue to walk your walk with God, and eventually those questions you get, they ain't gonna be nothing. Because people really know you, they ain't gonna question you. They're just gonna be like, dang, she changed. Dang, she changed. And you're like, amen. That's the power of God. Okay. Oh, thank you so much, La Wilson. Oh my gosh, La Wilson just sent a she just sent a comment from YouTube to Instagram, and so I can see it now. Thank you so much, sweetheart. Someone asked on my YouTube when you feel, or someone asked what to do when you fall away from God. When you find yourself falling away from God, also first off, you have to acknowledge shame is going to come with it. It's going to tell you you're not enough. You shouldn't go back. He will not accept you. All that crap. When you find yourself falling away from God, what you have to do, this is hard because it's hard for me. You just gotta run back. And that means you gotta run in there and just fall on your knees in your bedroom. Literally, you just have to run back and you just gotta be like, okay, like you just got, and sometimes me, I have to say it really quick just to get it out. Okay, God, I was gossiping yesterday and I know I shouldn't have been. And just get it out there, because one thing the enemy likes to do is if we hide it, he wants us to keep it in secret. Because when you can't talk about it, that means it's not a testimony yet. When I couldn't talk about, that dude, that older man that was on me and all this stuff, when I couldn't talk about that, it wasn't a testimony yet. When I can't talk about certain things like pornography, masturbation, that means it's not a testimony yet. That means you truly ain't overcome it all the way. So what I want to tell you is how you come back to God is you just be blunt, you be honest. And that's why I talk a lot about the secret place on my website, His Daughter's Closet, and also on YouTube, because it's in my secret place where nobody can hear me, where God gets the real mourning. Like he gets everything. God, I was gossiping. God, I was judging so-and-so. God, I didn't have compassion. I should have been more compassionate when I wrote that person back. Why? Like I have to, that's when you get honest, and that's when honesty comes in, that's the spirit of truth, which is the Holy Spirit. And that's when you can come back to God, because the spirit of truth will begin to work in you. And a lot of times we fall away because we don't want to address the truth. And that's just the Holy Spirit saying, hey, address it so we can come back together. I just want to commune with you. I just want to be with you. I want to hug you. I want to make you feel fulfilled again. I want to fill up your cup, but I want it to run over. I want you to have joy and peace, but you're running from me when the true like antidote you need is right here inside, and it's the spirit of truth. So if you feel yourself falling away from God, I need to tell you, run back. If you mean you gotta run in your room, shut your door, turn on some music, and don't let him, and just start talking to him. Literally. If it means you gotta get in your dorm room and your friends are like, hey girl, we going over to this event, I got stuff to handle right now. I gotta go. You literally have to make it a priority. When you feel that shame and when you feel like you're falling away from God, I can tell you to go read your Bible. I can tell you to pray on your knees. I can tell you all these things. But what you have to do is you got to get honest about why you're falling away. And a lot of times for me, why I was falling away is because I was using one of my cop-outs. I was using either men, I was using sex, I was using drinking, I was using something, maybe sometimes even pornography. I'd be trying to look in these things, okay? So that's the reason. So acknowledge your cop-outs, and you'll kind of acknowledge why you're falling away, all right? All right. Okay. So much. Oh my gosh. I really want to say shout out to you, La Wilson 1010. Thank you so much for dropping that question. Someone else asked, what makes you stand out as a woman of God? I think first of all, I think you should just want to be whoever you are. Whoever you are as a woman, that's just who you want to be. And through your life, you're going to change and you're going to start to like become more of yourself. And then you're going to stand out. I felt like when I put on a persona, and I used to do it a lot, I guess you can say like a representative, that wouldn't be honest, wouldn't be truthful about the hurt and the things that I encountered growing up. I wouldn't be truthful about that man that freaking preyed on me when I was 15. I wouldn't be truthful about the pornography and the masturbation. When I wouldn't be truthful, I was putting on a representative, and that's why probably back then I couldn't be who I am today, because I wouldn't be able to connect with so many people, because I was putting on a representative. But I want to tell you, how you stand out as a woman of God is you have to acknowledge how much God has brought you through, and you have to embrace that grace. I think true women of God embrace grace because they realize how much they fall and how much that grace has to lift them up. Okay? So true women of God, you acknowledge the grace. First off, you acknowledge your sin, okay? I'm not perfect. None of us are perfect. But two, you acknowledge how far God has brought you. And when I look at like the girl that was super crazy about men, who literally worshiped men, had so much sex, and was just all about drinking, all about everything that had nothing to do with God. When I look at that woman and I look at me today, I don't know. There are people online can tell me I'm not a woman of God. Oh, boy down the street could tell me, girl, I used to do this with you. You ain't a woman of God. Anybody can tell me that, but I have to know it in my heart that I'm a woman of God, or a daughter of God, or whatever you want to name you want to put on it. I have to know that in my heart. When I know that in my heart, then I know that grace has lifted your girl up, because I need that grace. Okay, we all need that grace, but I need that grace too. You know what I mean? So true women of God, how we stand out is we acknowledge how many times we've fallen and how many times grace has picked us up. If you can acknowledge how many times you've fallen and how many times grace has picked you up, oh, boo, you're going to stand out. You're going to stand out even when you try not to. And I used to try not to, okay? Literally. I would try my best not to, and I still would stand out. And I think also, too, was just because I love God, because I've seen how much He brought me through. All right? And yeah, let's not forget about that grace, y'all. Grace is powerful. It's beautiful. It's easy to overlook that grace. It really is. But oh my gosh, Lai Wilson, thank you so much, girl. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Lai. How do you get focused when you feel lost? Evolving. How do you get focused when you feel lost? Girl, no. Oh my gosh. Are you reading my prayer journal right now? Evolving? Are you reading my prayer journal entry? Okay. Evolving said, how do you get focused when you feel lost? First off, maybe this has really not too much to do with your spiritual walk just yet. Maybe it just has something to do with you. I knew there were times where I would feel lost when I would go back on something I said that I wasn't going to do. Okay, example, I said I'm not going to hit up that dude anymore. We are not going to do anything. And I would get lost because I would go back there. And then I felt like I hurt myself. Like I went against myself, not even just God. Like maybe, it didn't mean we had sex. It didn't mean we did anything wrong. But what I stood for myself. And so maybe evolving how you can, when you find yourself lost, maybe you're actually hurting yourself. It might have nothing to do with God, but it may be just your personal being. Like example, if you're a woman who says, I'm a vegan, okay, I'm a vegan, and then maybe you go against that and then you start to feel weird inside. It may be because you personally really desire to be a vegan, but you kind of went against yourself, just as I did with the relationship or with a certain man, when I knew, no, I'm not going to give him the time of day anymore. But I kept kind of going back. And then it made sense why I felt so lost, but it's just because I kept hurting myself because I knew he wasn't beneficial. Okay? So if you ever feel like you're lost, first off, acknowledge what is making you feel lost. Once you acknowledge that, and maybe it's just you might need some free time. You might need some time to yourself. You might need an evening of pampering, which is like prayer journaling, writing, reading, watching your favorite YouTuber, listening to some music, put some rollers in your hair. I mean, I don't know. But for each of us, if you find yourself in a place of being lost, the first thing you need to do is say, what did I do? What did I encounter? What did I say? What was an action? What was an interaction that I did that made me feel lost? Guilt, shame, afraid, unworthy. I mean, there's so many things, trust me, even for myself, So definitely look into that, and once you get that, then maybe you can get more focused on once you get filled back up, right? Candy Hines says, can you pray for her self-harm and being an alcoholic? Candy Hines, I definitely will. That's so funny. Me and my mother were just talking about this today. I grew up in a family where I wouldn't say alcoholics, but they drank a lot, obviously. And we just talked about how God brought my mom out of that, and if God can bring my mother out of it, and I'm a child from that, like I grew up in that, and it was very hard, but if he can bring my mother out through everything I've been through, and still for me to have love for her and my brother and sister love her like crazy, bring you out of any form of addictions or anything like that. And I want to tell you, alcohol and drugs is not our only addictions. I have been addicted to men. I have been addicted to self-validation. I have been addicted to vanity. I have been addicted to food. Literally, like, there are other things out there than just drug and alcohols that makes us. There's plenty of times where in my life where I've been addicted to many other things that was not beneficial. Okay. All right. Think about how great it is to me and thanking him to get focused. Okay, I'm sorry. Amen. Thank you. No problem, Evolving. No problem. I will say, I go to what is it called? Like a recovery. You know how the people get in a circle and they go to like a recovery thing? I go to that every few months. I just like to be around people who are so honest. Like these people are honest. Like they're so real. And it's Christ based. And so I get to just sit there and listen and take notes, and I love going to this thing. And but when I started to go, I realized that we're all addicted to something. But for these people, it was, drugs, alcohol, or whatever they were on. But, for me, a lot of the time my addiction was, an eating disorder. That's something I would run to and things like that. And so I think that when you can look at your life and say, what am I addicted to? What do I run to? What is my cop-outs? And when you can acknowledge those, lay those things down. And you may have to lay those things down every day for the next 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks to a year. You may have to. But trust me, eventually it gets easier and easier. Just like in my pornography video, I talk about how I had to continue to tell myself, don't go back there. Don't go back there. And in the first week, probably was a little challenging. A couple weeks later, yeah, still hard. But I looked up, and the more that I told myself no, the more backbone and the more stamina and the more faith I got. And I said, I don't have to settle for that. Same way when it came with celibacy. The more I told myself, I'm not copping out. I'm not gonna go back into that lifestyle. The first year it was very hard, but second year was like a breeze. It was almost like it wasn't even a thing anymore. But that's because I built faith and a backbone, and then I believed. But I came too far to turn back now. So I want to tell you that if you're battling with anything, just put it down. Believe that God will help you through it. The areas you fall short, He's going to help you. The feelings you have, maybe that thing connects you to a certain person. Okay. All that, God will help you through that. He will never leave you. He'll never leave you to deal with that on your own. Keeping It 100 said, could you do a gospel playlist video? Because I want to create one as I want to give up on worldly music. Keeping It 100. I'll tell you, I still listen to worldly music, but I listen to music, I guess it's called worldly, but I listen to music that sounds good to me. Like, music that makes my spirit feel good. I listen to gospel music. I listen to all kinds of music. And what I want to be honest about is if I hear a song that I know from back in the day, I don't act like I don't know it. I might not sing along, but I like dance to it or whatever. I don't feel like I have to act like I don't know that Eazy-E song, even though I was bumping it when I was like 18 and 16 and all that. I don't feel like I have to act like that because I once lived that lifestyle. I did. Now that old person is gone, those desires and things are gone, but I do listen to worldly music. But I choose to listen to music that uplifts me. And sometimes it's gospel. Sometimes it's like, girl, put your records on. Sometimes it's Whitney Houston, Saving All My Love for You, like to inspire me for celibacy. If I feel myself shaky or something, like I don't know, my music just. And sometimes it's like Chance the Rapper, Blessings. Okay, like it depends on what's on my heart at the time. Sometimes it's just love songs, So whatever songs that may target something for you, then lean into those. And I definitely will I could create a playlist. I listen to like a lot of gospel, but I also listen to a lot of feel good music that I like to work out to and that uplift me in the morning, So what do you do when you know who God has for you, but He doesn't approach you? What do you do when you know who God has for you, but He doesn't approach you? Okay, I'll tell you, you keep living. I feel like the biggest attraction to men is women that are fulfilled and happy. There are women who don't need them. Okay, you in your own lane, you doing your own thing. You glow and you blossoming. No, I'm kidding. But you grow and you building. You becoming the woman that you know you need to be without a man. And trust me, you will attract. And if it's that man, you will attract him. But it won't just be your naturalness that will attract him. Something spiritually about you will attract him. And so if he hasn't approached you, then maybe right now his attraction isn't at that level yet. Maybe he's like, oh, she's beautiful. Maybe, nice. But when it's a true connection spiritually, then he'll be all yours. You know what I mean? So what I will tell you is keep living, keep growing, keep building your personal walk with God. Because many times that is a thing that is going to pull a man, honestly, to a woman that is for him. You know, it's her walk with God, it's her love for God. It's just something about her, you know, or something like that. But when you start to glow, literally, you do your glow up, you get in your glow up season, then you're, don't worry about that, boo. Don't worry. Don't worry about that. Hey, Treasure. She said, can you pray for her grandmother? She has to stay in the hospital. I definitely will pray for your grandmother, Treasure. Dia said, do you think God believes in divorce? This is a hard question. I kind of do. I do, in a sense. I believe that if you are at a situation in your life where you get with someone and they go off the deep end, maybe they're just not the one for you. Maybe they start to abuse you, beat you, talk to you really crazy, and maybe the woman that you're becoming, you can't become them with that person. Oh, then I do believe that tie will be severed. Maybe that person will leave you. Maybe you will maybe they will cheat, or I don't know, however way. Maybe you'll come to an agreement. You know, I don't know, but I do say that the thing with us is God will continue to allow us to grow in Him, and we're going to get higher and higher. And sometimes our counterparts don't grow with us as we grow with God. So we leave them behind. And that's why a lot of women, we have to be careful before we get married. Because even for me in relationships at times, God and got hungry and power calling, and I just loved God. That's all it was. But the people I were dating was not. They were almost like falling in the background while I was continuing to grow. And so what happened is that thing got cut off. So I could continue to grow and I could be who I needed to be. I want to tell you that I don't believe in divorce. I truly don't desire divorce. But also too, I do believe that women choose smartly. Have discretion, have the spirit of discernment when you choose that, because that's a tie that you can't cut off yourself. The Spirit of God has to cut that off. And that, I'm not just talking about naturally and no divorce paper. I mean internally. When you have a connection like that with someone, when you become one with that person, God has to cut that off. That's for people who's in relationships, divorced, broken up, whatever. And trust me, a lot of us women know when we've got out of relationships and that person's scent, we could still smell after like a year later. And we're like, how did I just smell him? That memory that came back, that feeling. You know, sometimes God has to actually come in and cut that off, because some of those things we cannot cut off on our own. You know, fasting and praying, right? Amen. So, do I believe in divorce? Kind of ish. I don't for me, because I know I ain't getting married no time soon. But I feel like if you're in a relationship where you're being abused and you just feel like you can't go, I just tell you to pray, and leave it in God's hands, because you don't know what God could do. That man can wake up one day and be on fire for Jesus. Or that man can wake up one day and just say, you know, we never know. Evolving says, do you pray in tongues? No, I don't. I have a few times on like at a church setting, I've done it every time, but on a regular day, nah, I don't pray in tongues. It's very rare and it's very, just kind of sporadic. Yeah, I don't pray in tongues. I feel like if I do anything, it's maybe I like a little different, or like I rock, you know, when I start to pray or something. But I don't pray in tongues. I don't pray in tongues. How do you resist temptation? I think the biggest way how you resist temptation is acknowledge your fights before you get in them. It's almost like acknowledge your location before you get in them. Sometimes you are going to be tempted. It's just natural. But you have to kind of catch your red flags, catch your red zones. Example for me, I can't go lay up at a guy's house. That's a red zone for me. I'm trying to be celibate. So I know that I'm not going to meet you at your apartment type of deal. You know what I mean? Or you can't stay the night in my dorm room, you know, when I was in college. Because that's a red flag for me. I'm going to get into kind of the wrong situation here. You know what I mean? And there's a possibility. So what I will tell you, if you are someone who's ever like feel like you're going to battle with temptation, the first thing is try to guard yourself before getting into situations like that. And if you can't, if you're just like in the smack dab situation, I'll tell you to just always choose the right thing, and to choose the right thing that's in your heart. Like, dang, I keep going back to men so much, but that's a lot of my examples. Okay, guys. But yeah, it's always been a lot of like men. Temptation is always tied to men for me. But also, I said I grew up, I had sex very early. I dated an older man, which was like a sugar daddy, which is all on my YouTube channel. So I worshipped men for so long. So that's why a lot of my lessons are through men, because I had to learn the hard way. I had to learn through men, like the heartache, the heartbreak. And I want to tell you, when you resist temptation, it literally just comes by you saying, I don't want to go backwards. And sometimes it's easier said than done. It really is. There's plenty of times where I've fell to temptation, and but I will tell you that through growing my faith and getting stronger with God, I've just learned to not put myself in that scenario or situation. Like as I've sat on my bed thinking about what I'm going to do that evening, and I know there's a party on campus, and I just know that I don't need to be there, but I kind of want to be there, but because someone's asking me right here. My roommates are trying to get me to go to this party. I can feel the tug. I can feel that I kind of want to go, but I kind of don't. I could feel that tug. But what I had to do is I had to choose fulfillment now, or a little moment of joy and or powerful impact later. Um, so I had to kind of choose that. And I even chose that with my sorority. I choose that in a lot of areas, to get my rocks off now type of deal, or to be powerful, walking in strong in God later. And that's something that you have to ask yourself. Even when it comes to celibacy, I can get my rocks off now, or I can continue to go on this journey. I can empower myself. I can become better in my walk with God, and I can help empower others. So temptation is a struggling thing for me every day, trust me, especially when, like, not every day, but a lot of days for sure. To resist temptation, you have to have a backbone in God. You have to know why you're doing what you're doing. You know what I mean? If you know why you're doing it, then your level of like that temptation will not be that big anymore. Like the desire to, like, some guy like wants me to come over or something, which is not like that no more. But in college, it always was. That temptation was hard. But probably about my last year, that temptation was not at all. No, it just ain't happened, But it took me a while to get there. And it may take you a while to get to a place where temptation isn't as big on you. But I will tell you, as you continue to stand by your truth, it's going to get easier and easier. When I decided, like, oh, I'm not going to parties anymore on campus. Oh, I'm not strolling anymore on campus. When I started to make those decisions, guess what? It got easier and easier. Maybe the first couple times when, hey, you coming to this? You stroll with us on this? Nah. That was hard at first. Trust me, it was. But after a few times, like, it got easier and easier. And then it was like, finally, people quit asking because they knew who I was. And so just continue to stand by what's true to you and true to the Word of God and true to the God that lives within you. Because the God that lives within you, which is the Holy Spirit, it'll direct you. It'll let you know. Okay? It'll let you know. All right. Joyce says, how do you stop thinking about boys and move on with coming close to God? Whew, this was like the biggest challenge my whole first year of being single and celibate. How do you stop thinking about boys and move on with coming close to God? Honestly, I don't know when it really stopped. But I don't say I stopped thinking about boys. I still think about men. Okay. But how do you stop? I think I don't want to be like super spiritual, but I think you just kind of, your focus shifts. So example, I used to be all focused on men. That's all I seen. And so that was my biggest temptation. But when my focus shifted to like empowering women and like talking to God and like, oh, I want to do this. And when my focus shifted, everything shifted. So when the men would call or hit me up and want to do, I no longer wanted to do those things anymore. But it's because my focus shifted. And so maybe Joyce, your focus may need to shift. Maybe you need to start filling yourself up with other things. Because the things that we think on every day are the things that's going to be our biggest struggles. Like if I think about men all day, my temptation is going to be men. My biggest temptation. And so, Joyce, maybe you should shift your focus. Maybe get focused more on, maybe if you're in, whatever your thing is that you're doing. Let's say if you're in college, maybe you have a vision, maybe you have an idea, a passion. Maybe you just have a desire inside that won't go away, that you want to create something, you want to do something. Once you focus yourself on that, then that thing will actually start to flourish. And also, too, that temptation or that desire won't be so strong. And so you won't feel the need to maybe give in, to settle, to say, well, maybe I can do this, we can play with this, I mean, when temptation comes, it doesn't just come like, have sex today. It's like, you're just trying to play around. You're just trying to stay the night. You're just trying, you know what I mean? So So be careful. Don't get into all that. Good advice. That's right. Man will wait for you, and your union will be blessed. Amen, Cindy. Lagirka Simmons said she appreciates your obedience to the Lord and how it blesses us on YouTube. Oh, thank you. It ain't been easy. It ain't been easy. Naya Gabriel, thank you, Lagirka. If I butchered your name, I'm so sorry, but thank you, sweetheart. Naya Gabriel said, could she send you an email to talk to you about depression? Yes, you can. If you have questions that you don't want to drop on here, you can always drop them on my website at hisdaughterscloset.com. Go to the contact page and you can drop literally anything. And I answer back. Trust me, I do. Yeah, I answer back. I do my best to answer you guys back. But I've said a lot tonight, guys. Like a lot. Okay, we have 5 minutes because I was going to stop at 9. We have 5 minutes. And so I want to say, guys, that the new year obviously is right around the corner. I'm so excited for the new year. But also, too, I can't be the only woman out here empowered and uplifted. We all have to be. We are all daughters of God. And we all should at least walk in a peace and a joy and a hope for tomorrow. We all should have a desire. It says in the word, without a vision, the people perish. So if you do not feel like you have a vision, if you feel like you're stuck, if you feel like you don't have an idea, you don't have a hope for tomorrow, I want to tell you, we have not because we ask not. Ask God for a vision. Ask God for an idea. Ask God for direction and guidance. I want to tell you literally, we have not because we ask not. One night this past week, I was sitting in my office and I began crying. And I was saying, God, why is this hurt still having in my heart? Why do I have this thorn in my heart? I started talking to God and I was crying about it. And I was like, maybe you're not asking it correctly. Maybe you're complaining. So I was like, okay, God, there is this pain in my heart. And I don't know how to let it go. I keep trying day after day and it peeks its little head up. But God, how do I overcome this? What is it and what am I still holding on? Why can't I let it go? Okay. This is what I was asking God. So that night I go to bed, right? I go to bed maybe hours later. I have a dream of the whole scenario that I was asking God about. But now the way I had the dream was almost like without blinders. It was almost like the truth of the situation. And it was a way that I never looked at it. It was never a way that I had never looked at it. And once the way I seen it, I woke up, wrote it down in my prayer journal so I wouldn't forget it, went back to sleep. And the next morning, when I really woke up, I read over it and I realized I'll let that hurt go, looking at the situation wrongly. God had to show you the truth of it. And when you see the truth, although it might have hurt a little bit, it did. Once you've seen the truth, you see the areas that you were still holding on to, what you thought was hope there, when it really wasn't. So I want to tell you, a lot of times, guys, we have not because we ask not. And I realized that. Like, I hadn't been asking God. I had been crying to him about it. Like, ouch, this hurts. Ugh, and then I ignored it. And then it'd be 2 months later, ouch, this hurts. Ignore it. 2 months later. So I want to tell you, if you feel like you don't have a vision, you don't have an idea, you feel like you're kind of stuck, you feel like you're working towards something and you just feel like there's no doors opening, I want to tell you, if you do not have a vision, you perish. So God will not leave you without a vision. So ask for your vision, ask for guidance, and ask for resources. One of the things I did before I produced my ebook, I asked God for resources. I told him, I cannot edit this book on my own. You know my bank account ain't big. Help me, Lord, help me. And what I want to tell you is within the 3rd day, a woman I met was an editor, and she edited my entire book for free. So what I want to tell you, she was a bomb editor. So what I want to tell you is never limit God and be honest. Open your mouth to him. Tell him your issues. It says in the word, if we ask anything in the name of the Father, it is ours. But a lot of times we don't even ask. It don't matter. Like we're like, oh, God ain't worried about this. Yes, he is. He worries about you. He worries about your hair. He worries about your teeth. He worries about your health. He worries about your finances. He worries about that cricket light that flickers in your house too, probably. Like he worries about everything. He worries about that crickety sink in there. He worries too. He wants to help you on those things too. So yeah, I say all that to say, guys, if you want a vision, if you want something, ask God. It may not come easy, okay, I will tell you that, but it will come and it will fulfill you and it will put a fire in you. It will. So women out there who have that vision, who have that desire, and you got that fire, Amen. Start asking God for resources. Start asking God for open doors. How can I get this to share with someone else, or whatever you need to do? Start asking God and He will bring it. He will. And it might not be in our timing, sad to say, but He'll bring it. And I think that's the thing, is no prayer ever goes void. No, even though sometimes we think it do, but it never goes void. The woman that you probably are today and the woman that I am today is probably because we are still leaning on prayers from grandma, grandpa, great grandma, even our own prayers. A lot of prayers that I asked for in 2016, I lived them in 2017. That I thank you so much for watching. I love you so much. Sorry, YouTube Live, I couldn't, connect with you, but thank you so much to La Wilson. You are bomb, sweetheart. I thank you so much. And so, yeah, guys, I love you so much, and I pray that, you got blessed by this, and I will see you guys in 2018, okay? All right. Bye, guys. Love you. Bye, Instagram. Love you guys. Okay. Sorry, YouTube. I had to shut off Instagram. But I want to say I'm so sorry that I couldn't chat with you guys. And, I love interacting with you. And I really hope that maybe before oh, okay. Also, too, in the new year, I want to do once a month one of these Q&As and like a talk. So I'm sorry about not being able to connect with y'all on here. But next month in January, I'll have it together. Okay, y'all. I promise I'll have it together. But I love you so much, guys. I pray you have a blessed New Year's. I pray if you haven't got to your goals list or taking inventory, you just take 10, 15 minutes to sit down and to just try it out and just see what you want to do. But I love you guys, and thank you, La Wilson, so much. I thank you so much, and I'll see you guys in the new year. Bye. Love you. Have a great New Year's, y'all. Turn up, turn up. For Jesus. Love you. Bye. Bye, guys.